Alright, hello. This is Lois back with the Great Ace Attorney, and we're gonna jump right into it, continue our adventure in episode 5. The jurors' contentions. All the evidence clearly points to the finger of guilt at this young pickpocketing.
As a housemaid, I should like to see all of the eyesores promptly and rigorously eliminated.
I think you'll find that if you look at that photograph in the stereo, the truth will just pop out. If I had left it in there, I should think there'd be repercussions by now.
Mind made up, stop. Global radio transmission of verdict to follow, stop.
In the motherland, we say never judge by clothes, judge by head. I'm convinced brothers are innocent. The circumstance of the crime and the evidence do indeed implicate the defendant rather comprehensively. The storeroom, locked from the inside, in which the victim and the accused were discovered alone. And in the accused's hand, the fatal revolver, the firing of which was heard by these witnesses. Not to mention this print. Take it from a chap who's seen action on the battlefield. That young girl's on the verge of pulling the bally trigger. Thanks a lot, Mr. Sholmes.
Oh dear, Hurley's cameras were supposed to help, not hinder.
Afraid you'll have to have an uphill struggle ahead of you. Virginia didn't shoot Mr. Windibank. Which means there's more to the situation than we have yet to see.
Agreed.
You have the floor, counsel. Proceed with the summation examination. The defense's rebuttal. All the evidence clearly points to the finger of guilt in this young pocketeen. I guess we should press everybody, right? Okay. You're Mr. Nutsman's landlord, Mr. Garrett, aren't you? We really must stop meeting like this. Oh, you're that clever chap. Well, there's a turn up for the books. Yes, rather a turbulent time we had back then. Some extraordinary events took place at your house, that's for sure. Lucky Mr. Sholmes and I will get to the bottom of it all. I think we rather did a lot for you, didn't we? I mean, obviously. I wouldn't be suggesting that, therefore, you should change your leaning to not guilty or anything. Can't be denied, I suppose. The curse of the Garden Palace was the talk of the town after that business. Lodgers moved out, and I couldn't get a bally soul to take up the tenancies. Oh. Hadn't had the heart to break the news to Joni yet. Bad enough that the old girl's clapped up. Yes, can't be denied. You did rather do a lot, but not for us, that's for that certain. I suppose not. Of course. There can be no suggestion of that being the reason I'm leaning towards guilty here, obviously. Obviously, but honestly, I really wish you'd pay more attention to the trial, and less to juror number 2. Polishing the bench, I see, again.
Maid's work is never done. Not a blemish must remain.
What exactly do you mean by filthy eyesores?
On the way to the market for his lordship, I had to pass through the East End. The place was full of beggars, pickpockets, and crossmen, the scum of the earth.
A little harsh, perhaps.
Let me be plain. No, up to me, all those back slums will be made spick and span or eradicated. At least we have people like the great detective looking to achieve these important goals.
You're referring to Miss Sherlock Sholmes?
That's right. I'd like to keep abreast of his exploits by reading the Rance magazine in between my duties. He does wonders cleaning up London streets. In my opinion, he should be declared an honorary maid of the capital.
Mr. Sholmes? A maid?
It's really quite unforgivable. Gutter scum having the audacity to shoot our very greatest detective.
Minor detail. It was the 2 brothers in the stand who shot Mr. Sholmes, not the defendant.
A minor detail indeed. They're all gutter scum as far as I'm concerned. Well, just might be an idea to get our facts straight anyway. Yes, all right. I shall amend my statement. Those brothers are the scum of the earth. They should swing for the shooting the great detective. I agree with you. The shooting of Mr. Holmes was an unforgivable act. But the purpose of this trial is to determine who shot the pawnbroker, Mr. Winterbank. I'm afraid you're splitting hairs, sir. Sorry? Whether it was the thieves or the pickpurse, it was still gutter trash that shot the pawnbroker in the end. Filth that should be cleaned up and eradicated, in my considered opinion. Thanks so much for sharing. Changing this maid's mind isn't going to be easy. I know. It was one of the two brothers that shot Hurley, wasn't it? Yes, without question. Well then, I'll never forgive them. Oh, Iris. Perhaps we can use this maid's statement to help us somehow, do you think? Yes, maybe. Let's listen carefully to what each juror has to say first. What do you mean, look at the photograph in stereo? Sorry, what? Don't you know? If you look at the photographic print normally, it looks as though the pickpocket was about to shoot the victim, obviously. But there's no indication that the defendant ever fired the gun. All I'm saying is that if you look at the same print in stereo, it could reveal all sorts of new information. By any chance, are you a fan of stereoscopes? Oh, how did you know? Let's call it a lucky guess. It never gets old, seeing the two prints merge into one before your eyes. It's extraordinary, it's captivating, it's the height of modernity. Of course. Oh yes, I think you'll find that the stereoscope is here to stay, giving us new perspective we could only dream of before. It's the greatest invention the world has ever seen. If only you could give me a new perspective on this case, I might agree with you. What exactly have you been muttering about this all this time, sir? You keep talking about having left something somewhere or something like that.
Oh, so sorry. As you can probably tell, I'm a surgeon.
A surgeon? That totally passed me by.
Of course, people conducting surgery in this country aren't considered to be doctors. Oh no. Even though me and my kind are at the forefront of medical science, the real brains in the field.
So, what is it that you think you've left behind?
Ah, well, that's a little embarrassing to be honest. You see, I was operating on someone yesterday, standard thing, went into the abdomen. But when I finished the procedure, I couldn't find my scalpel anywhere.
What? Did he? Surely not.
Exactly, surely not, you say to yourself, don't you? Worrying, isn't it? That's what's been troubling me this whole time. Could I really left my scalpel inside the fellow's belly? No, of course I couldn't. So there you have it. Like I said, a little embarrassing, really.
That's one way of putting it. The other is manslaughter.
That's exactly my concern. And seeing as this case appears to be all but sewn up, I need to focus on trying to remember exactly what I've sewn up elsewhere. Now, I'm sure I made sure everything was back as it should be. Well, as sure as you can be without being sure.
I'm sure you need to be more sure. Sorry, a radio transmission? What do you mean? Are you from the Far East? Stop. Yes, from the Empire of Japan. All communication with the Far Eastern nation used to take place by mail. Rural mail steamers take more than a month to complete the journey. Ah, but now we have the electric telegram, so we can send messages using electrical signals. Thousands of miles of cables have been laid along the ocean beds, connecting the entire world. Thousands of miles of cable on the ocean bed? It makes my head hurt just thinking about it. Yeah, it's actually kind of crazy. Like, if you... a lot of people don't think about it, but, like, the internet is connected by giant cables that just, like, are running through the ocean across countries. It's kind of crazy. You're well informed, young lady. Hehe. It's kind of crazy that we have that technology to do that, too, to run giant cables through the ocean. The cables will soon become a thing of the past. Stop. And just when I was starting to catch up, radio transmission is the future. Stop. Versus carriages over airwaves to four corners of the globe. To four corners of the globe. Stop. Excellent. Excitement growing. Stop. Atmosphere electric. Stop. Right. Try not to wear out your fingers. Era of wireless telegraphy. Stop. Driving technological revolution. Stop. People say inventions like the stereoscope are the height of technology. What else a piffle? I can't understand it. I really can't. They're just silly toys. It's kind of interesting seeing also this, like, back in the day. This was the height of technology at the time, too. But as you can imagine, like, being able to send messages invisibly through the air, very reliably, is kind of a fascinating thing. I mean, stereoscopes are cool, too. Juror number 3. Sorry to interrupt when you're obviously fuming, but that's actually kind of interesting. I wonder how much stereoscopes, how much that went into, like, the way, like, visual technology is now, like, 3D and stuff, if that has any, like, relation. It would be interesting to see the influences. What? Do you perhaps have something to say about your juror number 5's last remark? As if I couldn't guess. Oh, you bet I do? Say that again. Go on, I dare you. Goodness, are you talking to me? I think he just might be, yes. You think stereoscopes are just toys, do you, huh? Absolutely. I mean, really, a machine to view photographs in 3 dimensions. Why on earth would you not just use your eyes to look at the world around you? It's all 3-dimensional. What a great way to appease the man. No, I'm sorry. Stereoscopes are of no practical use at all. You just don't know. Pardon? I think you'll find that viewing a photograph through a stereoscope can unlock all sorts of possibilities. I'm obviously going to have to demonstrate. What sort of possibilities? Well, take a crime scene, for example. If you had a pair of photographs from a crime scene that you could view through a stereoscope, it could reveal hidden clues you've never even noticed before. What? Have you got any, Runo? Any prints we could look at with a stereoscope? I mean, we do. The cat. How about this print here? It should do the trick, I think. I mean, this is not a stereoscope, but... Oh, I mean, where's the photos? Oh, these. They were flipped around, okay. I can present this. Oh, I was wrong. I can't think we actually use anything at all. What? Really? Oh dear. I think maybe I need to have a stereoscope look at your brain sometime. What's that supposed to mean? Oh, that's not the photo? So maybe this thing? Alright then, juror number 3. Are you saying you can do this with any 2 suitable photographic prints? Of course I can. Very well then. I'd like you to demonstrate. I'll be delighted to. Just give me one more print and I'll amaze you all. Oh, okay. I guess we don't have another photo of this scene. So maybe we can extract that somehow, from a later... Yeah. Maybe a later conversation. Okay, so we don't have anything else to go with this, I guess. Let's see. What is that? It's hard to flip it around. There we go. That doesn't work. Popped up to your port. That doesn't work either. Okay. One more print. Oh dear, don't you have these in the Far East? Don't you know how a stereoscope works? Rena, what? You need 2 photographs for a stereoscope, remember? You know, one for the left eye and one for the right. Okay. Oh yes, I remember now, but the print we have from the pawnbroker is just a normal photograph. No, I think you'll find the clues in the name. It's a stereoscope, not a monoscope. You always need 2 prints. Thanks for the friendly explanation. Well, if we obtain another print at some point later in the trial, We can always show it to this young man then. Ha 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 ha. I think you'll find that the know-it-all expression is really starting to annoy me.
Let's get back on track, shall we, Council?
Okay. All we need is another shot from a slightly different location, and we'd see this scene in 3 dimensions. Okay, so at least we got him to say something different, right? I'm pretty sure that's different. Okay, let's press this guy. Please tell me you're not Villain Bolshevik, the Russian revolutionary.
Revolutionary? No, I believe there is such a rumor.
It's just a rumor?
As you see, I have unfortunate appearance. I look like a vicious criminal.
Your words, not mine. Just want to point that out.
People call me a revolutionary, murderer, autocrat.
And which club fits?
Good day. I am visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please.
Right, that didn't sound staged at all. You'll forgive me for having my doubts.
To be treated like vicious criminal all the time, it is very painful. People do not realize. So I have much sympathies for these brothers. People say they are criminals only because of how they look.
The Skulkin brothers?
No, maybe they went inside pawnbroker's shop, but they have done nothing wrong. That is all I want to say.
Skulkin brothers did nothing wrong that night. Alright, well, first of all, that's one not so little misunderstanding I'll need to clear up straight away. Tell me something, Iris. What is it, Bruno? The jurors are chosen at random from the inhabitants of London town, aren't they? Yes, it's amazing, isn't it? In that case, how is it that there's a Russian tourist sitting among them who looks for all the world like a revolutionary? I wish I knew. If I can't change the jurors' minds of more than half of these 6 jurors, then the trial will be over. But we know that Ginny would never shoot anyone. Yes, so we need to find the contradictions in which these jurors are saying and put them against each other. I must be ready to go wherever lengths I have to convince them of Gina's innocence. Alright. They should swing for shooting the great detective. So I would pit her against, this guy, right? Convince the brothers are innocent. Okay, so let's do that after we, press this guy, because since he changed his text. Can it really show up new clues, though? Don't know unless you try. How about this print here? Okay, so we can't do this yet, actually. Because the cat thing doesn't work. Okay, so we can skip this. Okay, at least that's available for later. So, we can just talk to him, when we get another photo. Okay, so let's pit the maid against the, revolutionary. Those two statements clearly contradict each other.
Good lord! Counsel, explain yourself.
Oh my statement? Contradictory?
Contradict. C-O-N.
Juror number 6, you got the wrong end of the stick.
I do not have stick, I have mouse.
As juror number 2 said earlier, when the Skulkin brothers fled the scene on the night in question, they fired a shot up from their revolver. Yes, they shot poor Mr. Sholmes in the abdomen, I understand. Surely you're not going to tell the court now that you didn't hear.
Abdomen.
Sir?
Sorry, my English is still learning.
You are telling the court you didn't hear.
Forgive me, I did not hear. Here is the word abdomen. Part of person's body containing stomachs and other vital organs. This is what you mean. You should say in plain English. I am Russian, not a native speaker.
I thought it was a good idea to let this man be on the jury again.
So, you're telling me these brothers who look like criminals were lying? They said before, we never done nothing, but the truth is, they shot detective. Da. This is double negative.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Lying is wrong, especially when lie is said by a person who looks like criminal.
Ah, the poor mouse. Coming for you, that seems surprisingly prejudiced.
This means, when they said that we never took nothing, maybe it was also big fat lie. Is this true?
Well, according to the police report, no stolen goods were found, so...
Ah! Enough, I trust no one now.
It's not the mouse's fault, though, sir.
I must see with own eyes. I must investigate the crime scene myself.
I'm afraid that won't be Yes, it is easily.
Sorry?
With the print from Hurley's red-handed recorder.
Ah.
If you compare the print that pictures Ginny and the print from half an hour later, you'll be able to see straight away if anything was taken or not. Kiwi, Mr. Prosecutor.
Tut-tut. Calling upon the prosecution in the middle of a summation examination of all times. The print showing the accused threatening the victim after she broke into the shop is this one. Following this, the victim and the accused moved into the storeroom. Meanwhile, the Skulkin brothers entered the shop and summarily heard the fatal gunshot ring out. Sadly, none of these events were captured on film. This is the print produced by the camera half an hour later after the brothers' flight.
So this was taken after Hurley was shot then? As far as I can tell. Nothing has been taken.
That does seem to be the case. I can't notice anything that's obviously missing in the second print. So, the brothers who look like criminals told only one lie. They shot a man, but they stole nothing.
It would seem so, yes.
Good.
No, not good.
You were right. I did not understand the situation. Now I know brothers have lied. I think it's very important to continue with the trial.
Nice. Yay! Well done, Runo. The balance is shifting.
Well, it's a start, I suppose. There must be more than what these jurors are saying that I can use to expose the truth. And if I can do that, we might just turn the situation to our favor still. Thank you, counsel. Continue with the summation examination. And kindly hand that new photographic print to the bailiff to be filed as evidence. Post-shooting photograph. A photograph taken automatically by the red-handed recorder showing the scene after the murder had taken place. Okay. So hopefully we can use that photo to stereoscope. Another print in the court record. I wonder if we can make use of that. Okay, so before we move on, let's take a look at the photo. Okay. So it looks almost exactly the same, but the best thing we can do is look at them side by side. Which we can talk to this guy about. So let's do that. Present this photo. And then we'll present the second photo. Alright, these two prints were both taken within the same camera on window banks on the night in question.
Yes, I see. Tell me, Mr. Lawyer. Do you know how stereographic images work? Do you understand the principle?
Well, I think so. I did have a lesson only yesterday. The left and right eye images need to be the same, only with a slight shift in the positions of some objects. When your brain merges the two images together inside your head, it notices the shift as if it were depth.
Yes, exactly. It's that small shift between certain objects on the two pictures that's really important.
So what happens if you use the two photographs that are exactly the same then?
No. Obviously that won't work at all. Not for seeing this scene three-dimensionally anyway. Oh! Of course, now I see.
Ah, I think the young girl has discovered the secret.
I have.
Her eyes are crossed. Can you uncross your eyes before you tell me?
Have another look at these two pictures from Hurley's camera, Runo. Go on. Can you see that? Can you see that there's a really obvious difference between them? Well, let's see. Ah, one of the gas lamp is broken. Let's see if there's anything else different. Doesn't look like it, as far as I can tell, at first glance. Of course there is. There are 2 people in the first, and no people in the second. Well, yes, you can see that straight away, but now, try looking at the pictures in 3 dimensions. Alright, I'll give it a go. So, to start with, you have to cross your eyes and then try to make the 2 pictures overlap exactly. Let's see if I can do it. I can almost do it, but I need to put my face closer to the screen. And see if by crossing my eyes I can make the quill pens from each picture overlap in the middle. Wait. Well, did you manage to see it properly, Runa? Ah! What's going on with these 2 pictures? And those move too, yeah. Some of the things on the counter sort of jump out at you. Everybody's doing it. Oh, he's using the machine. He's like crossing his eyes. Oh. Yes, that's it, you see. That's the other amazing power of stereoscopes. Other amazing power? Is someone going to explain this black magic, eh? Why, the deuce do some of the things on the counter seem to jump out at you like that, I think you'll find that if you consider the basic principle of the stereoscope, you'll answer your own question. Basic principles of the stereoscope? As I said before, if you try to look through 2 identical pictures using a stereoscope, it won't work at all. There's a slight shift in the positions of certain objects that lets you see pictures 3-dimensionally. In other words, even though at first glance, it seems the objects are on the counter haven't moved at all between the 2 pictures. Yeah, slightly shifted to the left in the right photo. Or the book stack, or all that stuff has been shifted to the right slightly. It shows actually there must have been a slight shift in their positions. Yes, there must have been. I'm glad they pointed out explicitly without making you have to do it. Now hold fire there, sir. Got a reasonable grasp on this whole cross-eyed business now, I'd say. But why the devil does this shift between the 2 prints exist in the first place? Well, what's the answer, fellow? Come on, you're the cross-eyed master. What? Me? I haven't the first idea. You know, Runa, it's quite simple. It is? Just think it through step by step. The first photograph was taken at 1 AM. Then 30 minutes later, the second photograph was taken. But the position of some items on the counter appears to have shifted slightly in the interim. So that means that sometime in the half-hour interval, someone must have tampered with the things on the counter. Zugas! Someone tampered? New information, stop. Not mentioned in the testimony so far, stop. Yes. We have to go around in circles a little here, it seems. But I'm starting to see what I should be aiming at in this summation examination now. Ladies and gentlemen, the question is now clear. We know the items on the countertop were moved, but by whom? Are you suggesting you might know? Of course. I can tell you right now who is responsible for the almost imperceptible shift in the items on the counter. I mean, it must be the thieves, right? It was the witnesses currently on the stand, the Sulkin brothers. Wait, this does not agree with what brothers said in testimony before. They said they did not even have the time to pull dukes from Lucy lockets. My phrase book says dukes is meaning hands, and Lucy lockets is meaning pockets. But is this another lie? Is that what you are saying? Yes, I'm afraid so. Now hold on there a minute, you can't be sure of that. I quite agree. The accused is a common pickpocket after all. It's perfectly possible that she went through the things on the desk to see what she might steal. I think that's unlikely. And why exactly? As you can see from this photographic print, the defendant was pointing a gun at the victim. It would seem, as my learned friend indicated, that she was coercing Mr. Winrank to open the storeroom door. In other words, Miss Lestrade's interest lay within the storeroom, not the main shop, giving her no reason to touch anything on the counter. All of which points to one thing. The Skulkin brothers have admitted key facts in their testimony. But the accused is a big bus, common gutter trash. Why look any further for the wrongdoer here?
Because the Skulkin brothers are thieves, madam. No better, in fact worse, than a pig purse. I believe that these brothers were looking for something on the victim's counter that night. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if you condemn the defendant on the grounds that she's a pickpocket, would it not at least be right and proper to thoroughly scrutinize the testimony given against her by these two thieves? Well said. I, for one, would like to hear more from that shady pair. His freaking head. So funny.
Can you all see now? I think you'll find stereoscopes on playthings. You've seen their extraordinary potential firsthand. Oh, heartily agree. Stop. Must pressure after trial. Stop. We'll return home via Regent Street. Stop.
She's converted to stereoscopes. It's funny. Well, it would seem this trial has yet to run its course. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury have declared their inclinations via the mighty scales of justice. I hereby call the summation examination to conclusion with the balance altered in the defendant's favor. 2 lean to guilty, 4 lean to not guilty. Accordingly, the jury is without consensus. And I order this trial to continue.
Yay! Well done! Oh, by the way...
What?
You should hold on to this, Reno. You never know when it might come in useful.
Twice in one trial would be unusual, surely, but alright. Stereoscope has been entered in the court record. A fold-up device that allows anybody to enjoy seeing things in 3 dimensions simply by looking through the eyepieces. Lord Van Zeeks. He will instruct the witnesses that the court demands additional testimony from them. I'm sure it won't spoil the bouquet to do so, my lord. I've won myself another chance to probe at that pair about their activities at night, at least. And I won't stop probing them until I've proven that Gina is innocent. Nice. Alright. Onward. Order, please. Let us resume proceedings. Witnesses, you will now retake the stand. I presume you heard the defense counsel's summation examination. Oh, yeah, Governor. I did, Gov. I did. Mr. Skulkin. God, blimey. This is gonna be hard work. Early in this trial, you gave the following testimony about your actions after you entered Windibanks. Well, it was best lab soon as wanted. It was, Nasha was. Don't have time to pull me dukes out of me Lucy lockets. However, that was a lie. You brothers. God, blimey. On the night in question, you raffled through the items on the victim's counter. We never done nothing of the sort. Oh, did you figure that out? You'll now give a formal testimony once again. You will tell the court precisely what happened on the night in question, and this time you will tell the truth. Each lie that passes your lips serves to increase the severity of your punishment. And that, gentlemen, may deal a crushing blow to your chances of ever seeing the light of day again. A thought worth pondering, perhaps. Say no more, Gov. Say no more, Gov. We hear ya. We'll blab, we'll squeak, we'll peach. Illegal entry, the whole truth. Alright, we did knock a few things over, but we weren't raffling for nothing. It was when we heard the gunshots, see, made this boat jump and all that stuff went flying. Lummy, it didn't give me a fright. We was thinking the shoot'd come out the door and get us next. We stuck everything back where we found it and scarpered straight into him in the black. We shouldn't have shot the pawnbroker, see? We never even had a chance, did we? So you admit to the defense's accusation. You did indeed ransack the Winterbank's countertop on the night in question. Not ransack, Governor, no. That's right, Nash, that's right. It's more like we tied it up, yeah. Sorry. By their own admission, these brothers entered the pawnbrokery under dubious circumstances. However, they panicked and fled on hearing the gunshot, having first made good their mess. The way you say it, we hardly sound like roughs at all. We don't, Nash, we don't. Can't you make us sound a bit more cutthroat? It can't just be coincidence that these men showed up at Windbanks that night. There's more to their testimony than meets the eye, I'm sure of it. Okay. Let's go ahead and press. If that's the case, then why didn't you testify to that effect in the first place? Well, you know, we ain't exactly squeaky clean, are we? We ain't, Nash, we ain't. If we admitted something like that, people would think we was up to no good. Well said, Ringo Mio China. We only land ourselves in even more trouble. And in fact now, as a result of lying in your previous testimony, that's exactly what we've done. Land yourselves in even more trouble. That's rotten luck. Says a rotten apple eater. Witnesses, explain your actions to the court. Why did you ransack the victim's counter? We never ransacked nothing. Right, Nash, right. It was more like we tidied the place up. Sorry. It wasn't when we heard the gunshot, see? So what you're saying is, the sound of the gunshot shocked you so much, you knocked all those things off the counter. Well, it shocked us, one of us that much, yeah. The bag of nerves needs to learn to keep his shirt on. Look, it was that alright. Blimey, me dear granny would have woken up at that bang. Big brother screamed like a blooming baby and fell over on the counter. He knocked over a load of books, a candlestick and some skull whatnot. That got tangled in some marionette. What knocked over a picture frame. What knocked them scales on the floor. You really mastered working quietly then. What a racket. Me granny would have been scared back into a grave at a clutter like that. So in short, the gunshot took you by surprise. And then some. I mean, it was quiet as a mouse and then all of a sudden, bam! Inspector Gregson, do you have something to add? Like I keep saying, I don't appreciate being lumped with these scoundrels. No, something to add about their testimony? You seem to react just now what Mr. Skulkin said. Did it make you think of something? It's probably nothing, of course. I wouldn't even bother to mention it, only. Well, the fact is, cases don't get solved if you ignore the little details. How about you just tell us what's on your mind? As you know, we brought these fellas to the yard for questioning last night. And the statement they gave then told a slightly different story to what they're saying now. Did it? You claimed you heard the victim shout something out before the gunshot. Might have. It does ring a bell now you mention it. Granted, it's only a minor detail, but still. I can't help feeling like perhaps you've been a bit sloppy with your testimony here, fellows? If I discover the witness's testimony has been any more sloppy than hitherto proven to be, I shall be forced to bring the very harshest punishment to bear against them. Easy. We'll get it right this time. That's it, yep. It's all coming back to me now. Then speak. Supplement your testimony with whatever details have miraculously returned to your questionable minds, sirs. Right you are, Gov. Just before the gunshot, we heard a voice yelling out, "Give me that gun!" So in fact, you heard a voice and the gunshot almost simultaneously. We did, Gov, we did. Although, I suppose if you're being honest, we heard a kind of wavering voice before the yell and all. If you don't want to get shot, give
me that gun. Kind of thing. My career in acting tragically missed. And where were the voices coming from? Could you tell? Of course we could. On the other side of that door behind the counter it was. From the storeroom when the victim was found dead.
And the voice you heard, it was that of the victim, Mr. Winterbank. On my granny's life, of course it was. On his granny's life, of course it was.
So that would mean they both knew Mr. Winterbank at the sound of his voice. So that would mean what?
What, Nash? What? Any ideas? Yes, Cancel, indeed it would.
No. We didn't know the geezer.
How am I supposed to die when the bloke in all the fancy clothes was giving us the evil eye? If you value your lives, you will ensure your testimony is accurate and true. On me granny's life it is.
On his granny's life it must be. It's a good job his granny's dead.
To summarize then, immediately after hearing the voice of the victim, you then hear the gunshot, causing you to stumble and upset the items on the counter, scattering them over the shop floor. You make it sound like we're clumsy.
Don't forget we tidied up after like good little boys. Anyway, the way I see it, the bloke who owned the place was holding a gun, so he should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl. You're saying that Mr. Winterbank had a gun in his hands?
Oh yeah, but there was a sight, eh? Them two waving them guns at each other must have got pretty heated. I mean, just before he shouted out, we heard the keys say, if you don't want to get shot. It didn't really sound like he meant it, mine. More of an empty threat, you could say. Mr. Winterbank was known to keep a revolver on his shop counter at all times. People say that to protect the articles in his keeping, he'd readily put a bullet in someone's head if required. That someone being himself, of course. Good grief, extraordinary devotion indeed, if alarmingly misguided. Well, he certainly sounded like he was, ready to pull the trigger the other night. Only the person he was going to shoot beat him to it. Cooked his goose proper. Bet he wished he squeezed the trigger instead of wasting time shouting, give me that gun.
And it was directly after those words that you heard the gunshot.
It was more or less at the same time, Gov. Give me that gun.
Bam.
Kind of thing.
Yes, a career in acting very tragically missed.
Then we heard the sound of someone hitting the deck. Before everyone went dead quiet. After that, we done a slapdash job tidying the place up.
Lummy, it didn't
Give me a fright. We was thinking the shoe to come out the door and get us next.
So you didn't try to open the storeroom door then?
Not on your life. Went deathly quiet after that it did, but put the wind right up me. But anyway, the door's locked, wasn't it? No way that was opening.
Yes, of course, it was locked from the inside, or so we've been led to believe.
It was, Gov, it was, from the inside. Right, so we had no way of knowing what was going on in there, did we?
Unless there's some other way to get view of the inside of the storeroom. Like through the keyhole or a spy hole, perhaps?
Wouldn't ring no bells. Don't light no lights. We had to cut and run before we noticed anything like that. We're still cutting our teeth in this game, see, but one day we'll really cut the mustard. Please cut it out. But as we know, behind that door was the victim's lifeless body, with the accused not 2 feet away.
Yes, unfortunately. Gina was in there unconscious with a gun in her hand.
To confirm, it would be correct to say that neither of you set foot inside the storeroom. That's right, Cub, that's right. Couldn't have, even if we wanted to.
Yes, whereupon you fired a shot from your own gun at Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, it was a bit hasty there. We was, Nash, we was. Truth be told, I was already shaking like a leaf when you lot turned up.
If you're shaking like a leaf, don't put a loaded gun in your hand.
Good advice, miss, good advice. Truth be told, me mind went totally blank.
Before your mind goes totally blank, make sure you don't have a loaded gun in your hand.
Mental note made, miss. After that, we legged it down the street, but apparently we'll dodge it to the coppers or something. So they clapped. Oh, so they clapped the derbies on us like winking. After you had been handcuffed, the police found this revolver in your possession, correct? Well, yeah. But listen, that proves it, doesn't it, eh?
And why should we believe that?
Eh, what? Well, because it's true, isn't it? The place was totally empty when we went in. At the time, the victim was already in the storeroom, having been forced to open the door by the accused who had a gun to his head. In other words, on the night in question, these two witnesses never even laid eyes on the proprietor of the pawnbrokery, Mr. Winterbank. Correct.
Got it, mister. Down to a T. So the Skulkin brothers never actually encountered Mr. Winterbank. Is that really true, I wonder? That's it? That's the full extent of their testimony. What is it, Bruno? You look very fierce. I could pour you some herbal tea if you're tired. Oh, no thank you, but I'm fine. Being such a logical thinker, you'll probably laugh. But I feel as though these brothers are still hiding something important. There's nothing more than a feeling, though. I have no proof to support it. Well, feelings can be very logical at times.
Sorry?
People's expressions, the movement of their eyes, the words they choose. You can take that all in, and your brain will quietly analyze it to come up with a feeling like you describe. You've concluded that there's something suspicious about this testimony without knowing why, that's all. I think you should trust your instincts.
Iris, thank you.
Sometimes I think if she's 10 years old, I must be 5.
Ha ha ha.
Okay. I heard the gunshot yelling out. There's a gun. Look. The only place was holding a gun. So we would present that. I mean, that she was holding the gun, right? You're saying that on the night in question, the victim, Mr. Winterbank, was wielding a gun, is that correct?
That's it, Cov. You got the picture. He has, no question.
Yet the photographic evidence from the time of the incident clearly shows that Mr. Winterbank was not in possession of a firearm of any description.
You surprise me. Does the defense really intend to highlight evidence that compromises the position of the accused even more? Furthermore, the defense has failed to establish that the photographic print presented was taken a suitably short time prior to the victim's death. Your chronology is severely lacking, counsel. Yeah, that's right. Do right, Nash, do right. The old geezer could have been able to turn the tables on the girl, eh?
Hardly likely.
No, I'm afraid this won't stand as conclusive evidence. Continue with cross-examination, counsel. I need my earlier warning witnesses.
The Skulkin's never skulking. Only place was holding a gun. Stuck everything back where he found it. Straight into him in the black. Could have shot the pawnbroker, never had a chance. Let's take a look at this stereoscope, by the way, because we haven't done that yet. I had to pop your 2 prints in here to start with, you see. And then when you look through the eyepiece, you can see the image in 3 dimensions. The important thing to get right is the position of the 2 prints. I don't know who came up with the idea of a stereoscope, but it's really quite fascinating. Okay, there's probably nothing special here. We'll just be able to use it in the future, I guess. Oh, okay. So we were on the right track, I see. Okay. Let's just continue here from here. So you're saying that on the night in question, the victim, Mr. Winterbank, was wielding a gun, is that correct?
That's it, Cov. You got the picture. He has, no question. And yet, photographic evidence obtained immediately after the incident clearly shows
Mr. Winterbank was not holding a firearm of any description.
Hey, you what? Gordon Bennett, that ain't right. There can be no question that the victim's revolver was used in the incident. I would remind the court that Mr. Winterbank's gun was found at the scene. Not only was it identified as the murder weapon, but it was found in the accused's hand. Yeah, that Maltula used the victim's own gun to finish him off. Hey, give me that gun! Kind of thing.
Stay exactly where you are, right there.
Huh?
The crime had taken place as you so colorfully described in your testimony. It would give rise to an undeniable and significant inconsistency in the final moments you just acted out.
Goodness, are you sure, counsel? You intrigue me, my learned friend, but let's see some evidence to support your claim. Where is the proof that demonstrates this inconsistency in the witness's portrayal of the victim's final moments?
Yeah. According to their testimony, the witnesses claim to have heard a shout of "Give me that gun," followed by a gunshot.
Indeed, with the two events happening almost simultaneously, or so we've been led to believe.
Yes, that's right. Now, if that testimony was true, it would mean that at the moment of death, the victim and his attacker would have been facing each other. However, in the autopsy report, it clearly states that the victim died instantly after being shot from behind. So, as I stated before, there is an undeniable inconsistency in your testimony, Mr. and Mr. Skulkin.
But it's the honest truth. It is not, it is. Well, it was shot that night. The shop had a gun in his hand. We saw with our own bleeding eyes.
Did I hear you right just now? You actually saw Mr. Winterbank holding a gun.
Something like that might have slipped out.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've all just heard the admission by these two witnesses that on the night in question, they actually saw, with their own eyes, the victim wielding a gun. Which can only mean that, despite their testimony to the contrary, the Skulkin brothers must have encountered the victim in person.
Order, order, order! Witnesses, explain yourselves at once. Well, the thing is, it was supposed to, It would seem that my previous warning fell on deaf ears. I made it quite clear that false witness will be the death of you. Am I to understand that you replaced the untruths of your original testimony with renewed lies? We're so sorry, Governor. Truth is, we, Cut it out, Nash. Cut it out. If we blab now, you know what it'll do to us.
He? What are they talking about?
Let me make your position here perfectly clear. You will talk. There's no other option available to you. Come on, the game's up. We'll have our guts first and garters.
In case it hasn't quite sunk in yet, no matter how hard you try to hide it, the truth will come out.
On the night in question, it is now apparent that your brothers met face to face with the victim. I demand that you testify again to explain the precise circumstances under which this meeting took place. Well, do we have to? On pain of death. I suggest you make yourselves fully aware that this is your very last chance to tell the truth.
Encounter with the victim.
Alright, so we just got inside the gaff and needed a sigh of relief when the geezer showed his mug. Now give me that gun, he bellowed, and then he flew at us like he was possessed. I thought we had it. Third old geezer, the bloke was strong as an ox. He chucked me over the counter. I pulled my gun on him, and then he legged it through that door into the back room. We never had nothing to do with killing him. That's what happened, I swear.
Oh, so they came on him, and then he was like, give me that gun to them. And then he ran into the back room. So the gunshot never happened at the same time.
So now you're telling us that moments before the victim was killed in the storeroom, You in fact encountered him in the main part of the shop. Well, yeah. Sorry. Or maybe right after he went in the door, right? Well, we find ourselves at an interesting juncture. This changes matters considerably. But honest, Governor, this time, Nash, this time, we haven't got enough more to hide. Very well, counsel for the defence. You may proceed with your cross-examination. Yes, my lord. This is it. The moment I've been waiting for.